This episode 161 bonus Saturday live stream from the weekend of the Expo. So we were able to get that set up and get her done. Friday had no chance whatsoever in hell. It's going to be a short, impromptu live stream. So if anybody in the chat has anything they want to question or add or want to say, we'll have to be kind of quick. We'll do a little bit of shorter, truncated version of this. I'll cover a couple of things I picked up. So this will be the video for tonight. And then I will probably open up a couple more boxes of the AEW. I'll record that, and then I'll probably put that out in the morning. But we'll do a little bit of a short one. Eric, so other than running away from various hockey players or running towards various hockey players, good evening. How is today going?
Today's been fantastic. Very fortunate to have kind of stumbled into meeting different people, building different relationships, and getting myself involved in the autograph area behind the scenes, and getting a chance to meet and be around many of the autograph guests that were here this weekend. I've been invited back behind the scenes again tomorrow. It's really kind of work. I've been a working vacation, which I am not complaining about at all. But yeah, I've been. I could name drop a lot of people. It's been a great day.
Nice. So I'll quickly touch on, we do have a couple of comments here. Thank you for joining us. Kind of an impromptu. Obviously there was nothing scheduled. It was a matter of if I could, I would. And I managed to be able to do so. So we were able to, even truncated as it is. So Spurs Card 21, good evening. Good evening to you. Neo's cards and comments, everything going to zero? Without a doubt. Actually, it's going to negatives. They will pay you to take your cards.
Yeah.
Because zero is not enough. We got to go below zero. Sub-zero.
Yep. Sub-zero. Exactly.
So, Neo, sub-zero. It's coming. Below zero. But yes, it was an enjoyable thing, I will say. The thing with the way it works, the Expo, the way it works is that now we've got the VIP night. So the VIP night is about 4 hours. If you want to shop and you kind of know what you're doing and you know some folks and you want to be able to do that, for Thursday is actually really good for that. 100%. Friday is a long day. Saturday is an extremely busy day. Lots of foot traffic, lots of things going on. It's crazy the way it's going. And I'll touch on a couple of comments here because I think there's a couple of good things that I'll mention here related to that. So Jay here, good evening, Jay. Has Eric found other interesting cookies? Baking may be better in Canada. We do have crumble here, though. We do have crumble. We haven't come into it, but we do have crumble in this province. Finish him. Facts. Average Joe Car Collector heard it's the busiest expo yet. So I can tell you from a very reliable source that has in fact been the busiest expo yet so far. No doubt. Now, when I ask certain people, they'll argue about, like, oh, I feel like it was busier another year, whatever. The thing is, through the turnstile, I can say, again, from a very reliable source, who might be the show promoter, that it has been the strongest show to this point. I can also use some other indicators. I can tell you without giving numbers away that the PSA folks, and I'll just say PSA, just to save it. I won't do the PSA Canada thing because PSA itself brought graders on site. So I'm just going to say PSA. We'll call it PSA. They have been extremely busy. It's been consistent. It's been constant. It's been flowing all the way through. They have already surpassed. So there's two pieces. There was the on-site grading, which was the first time they've ever done that. That, from all indications, has been very successful. Moving forward, the second part of it is that the submissions. So this is the stuff they've had before. PSA Canada has been able to take submissions out of their booth previously. They're on track to have a record-setting amount of submissions at this show. And they had a pretty strong showing last show. So it's one of those things where that was a record. Even though it was the Spring Expo, this one is already on track well to surpass it. So we'll see what the final totals end up being, but very strong. I'll just say very strong. That's the way I'll put it.
Yeah, this I know I haven't been to as many as you, and I definitely haven't been to as many as Bobby. This was the busiest card show I've ever been at in my life. There were areas of the building that you could not move. People were packed in like cattle. I mean, my nose is on the back of someone's head, and someone else's nose is on the back of my head. It is, and you're shuffling. You can't even take a step. You're shuffling to try to move. Getting to the main exhibit hall, down the hallway to the autograph pavilion and where the grading pavilion was, you could not move. It was like a major highway traffic jam with thousands of people just stopped, and just there is no movement. Um,
I
it
will say
really,
that space in between. So I've shown the show map before, but just so you guys can picture it, it's a main hall area that's a rectangle, a very large hall area. There's a normal hall that's like a hangar design, and then there's
right.
a secondary set of halls that are now occupied by the signers. That area when they do some of the panels, that's in that area, and then there's the grading area. So that's another segment in there that's kind of in this own hall as well, and that is where a lot of that traffic has been. But as a result of that, there is like a long hallway in the middle where there are dealers and everything. But as a result of everything, the way it was, the idea was you'll have dealers there. That's great. But then a lot of traffic gets driven through there. In other words, hopefully some of that foot traffic translates to those dealers. In practice, it creates this pinch point. So you got these people that are actually trying to look at the showcases for the dealers that happen to be there, and there are people who are trying to get from point A to point B, trying to get from the entrance to over to the hall where the autograph guests are. And some
and
people are just there for the autograph guests.
and there are people. And the next part is that you're trying to get people from A to B, but now you're also trying to get people from B to A. So now you have traffic going in both directions, plus the people who are trying to look at the booths. And there were, 1,000 people, in that area, and it was a traffic jam, and
Yeah,
it was
it's a
people.
total pinch point. It was very much it created this scenario where you didn't have a choice. If you wanted to get from one area to another, you had to go through this one zone, and there was really no way around it. And that created congestion. There was a lot of traffic in there. Now, when a lot of autograph guests were really crazy and a lot of people went that way, it actually made a lot of space in the main hall because you'd have a little bit of breathing space all of a sudden. And then obviously when those came back and those people flowed back in, the other area would fill up, and it was kind of this back and forth. Again, everybody's perception is going to be different, but that's what I noticed is that as some of the autograph guests showed up, people would flow in that direction, and it would suddenly get really busy in that area. And then when they finished up, things would flow back into the main hall, and that's kind of the back and forth that happened with a lot of the show.
Yeah, Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, Carey Price, some of the biggest signers of the day that the people really packed in to see, and they were all kind of going on around the same time. So it was a madhouse, and there wasn't enough room to have those thousands of people all show up at once into that section of the building. Um, you just couldn't move.
Yeah.
If the fire marshal came in, they would have shut the whole place down.
For that section alone, yeah, it would have been very busy. It's too tough. It was tough to get through. So Zach here responds, "Good evening. It's kind of pathetic how I missed the live stream last night. It was an impromptu. Eric was there, Yannick was there, Bobby was there, myself, and we talked about it briefly. We happened to be at the Needham booth, and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I asked Bobby prior? I said, "Hey, do you mind if I try to do a live stream?" And hopefully, you guys didn't have too much. The audio was bad, so I know that fully. I know that full well. We were just trying to do it off of an iPhone, and basically, it just had a tripod and an iPhone. It wasn't anything elaborate. We thought we'd give it a try. It was fun. It was actually enjoyable to do for a couple of minutes. It was fun to do it live from the show, and that was one thing that I really wanted to do. I was trying to arrange one other one, and maybe I'll share more on the next, either on the podcast or on the next Friday live stream. I'll share the story. I was trying to arrange to do another live stream today, and we weren't able to do it because things were just too busy. It was just too difficult to set it up, and unfortunately, the logistics didn't work out. So in a way, it's a good thing because obviously it was busy enough that things were going a certain way. But it would have been cool to be able to do my own. They did try to do some live streams from the show, and I don't know if a lot of people caught that, but there were some folks trying to do that, but there wasn't a lot. So now we did have the influencers, and I'll share more stories. What I'll do is I'll share some stories on Monday, well Tuesday, but I'll chat with Eric and Bobbles, and I'll share some stories on Monday, and then you guys will see it on the Tuesday show, and then on the Friday live stream we'll share more stories, and then on the AMG Collectibles page we'll share some more of that. But either way, you'll get different perspectives and different vantage points. I got a chance to talk to a lot of different folks. I've got my own stories to share, but some of those other folks have some stories to share as well. Some fun stuff. We definitely have had a good time so far. We still got one more day, but it is obviously a lot of people are going to start making their way out tomorrow. But today was a very busy day. Friday was a long day. This was a very busy day. So that's definitely a big piece that came into it. So Neo says, how is dealer pricing? All over the board. I
Yeah.
definitely saw some dealers who were willing to move. There were some
Yep.
dealers who were stuck on old pricing, and there
Oh,
was nothing you could do to get them off it.
nope. It was so ridiculous, and you could go to one dealer, and see these prices that are just so inflated and so ridiculous, and move to the very next table next to them, see the same card for a quarter to, half the price. It's ludicrous. For example, I just give you a quick example. I think I showed on the live stream we did. I bought a Ray Bork rookie, OPT rookie, the thing, and everyone agrees. We had a round table about it tonight at dinner. Everyone agrees that this thing is absolute mint. Get graded, the whole thing. I paid $60 Canadian for it. Not every. That's not the point of the conversation. Several other tables have Ray Bork rookie cards for sale, and Yannick and I both saw them for anywhere from $100 to $150, and some
Yeah.
of them are banged up. And it's like, wait a minute, I just got this unbelievably super mint Ray Bork rookie for $60 Canadian, and you want me to give you 150 for that banged up thing? You're out of your mind. And we saw it many tables on that card alone, and it was like that for many cards, just completely overpriced, silly.
Yeah. And that's kind of the problem is, but that's how you could tell which dealers were going to have ease of moving product. And what you saw basically is the dealers that were willing to be flexible and just wanted to get out of some stuff. Even if they lost a little bit, then they would buy something else. I will say, and this is something I'll check in with a couple of the other dealers that I know, uh, it's not necessarily the best buying show for some folks. There have definitely been some of the dealers who went in with the intention, it was one of their mandates to buy, but they couldn't find the sellers were willing to come to a reasonable price. They ran into the same problem. They were stuck on the old pricing. And if you're stuck on the old pricing as a seller, you're not going to move it either. So it's kind of a two-way street. If you're not willing to kind of work, and people were trying to trade at like even for even. And if you're trading with a dealer, they're not going to be able to they're not going to want to do a deal with you even for even. You trade $100 and you want $100, then where's the profit margin? If you're a dealer, you're trying to get a little bit of something in that trade to make it kind of work for you. And again, your mileage may vary, but it's kind of interesting the way that people were trying to pitch certain things a certain way, and you could tell who seemed to be more experienced and who kind of understood how to adapt, and who was kind of just trying it and asking the same questions of every dealer and finding the same answer, dealer by dealer by dealer, and just not being able to move stuff both ways. Eric and the Human Centipede, facts. Paul C, good evening, Paul. Hopefully you're feeling better. Arms warm, chest cold. There you go, Scott. There you go. So Ray Bork is overrated and overpriced at the same time? Psh. Now you know, Jay. Now you know the truth.
I don't need this. I am tired.
Oh, secretly you do. You need this.
No,
We tried to get Eric. We tried to slide over a little plate of mayonnaise to try to help it lift his spirits, boost his spirits.
you
We
guys
tried.
are all, and I hate you.
It's facts. So what I'll do here is we'll talk for a couple more minutes and then we'll wind her down. Like I said, I wanted to keep it a short one, but I will share a couple of things. I didn't pick up a lot today. This will be in lieu of the video, the end day video. Really, what it came down to today was talking to a lot of folks, getting a little bit of a sense of how things went and have been so far. And that's been some good things and have some fun conversations. And then obviously dinner was great today and having a chance to chat with some folks. I did have the good fortune of having somebody present to me. Now, I think I know who it is. I'm like 99% sure, but I'm going to leave it out because unfortunately, when it was described to me, they tried to tell me who it was, and I asked 3 times, and every time it sounded a little bit different. So I don't think they got the name right, but I did receive a Medano 90-90-91 Upper Deck, a rookie card, autographed. So very cool. So thank you to the individual involved in this. So I appreciate that. It got through a couple of sets of hands and reached me. A little awkward how we ended up there, but fair enough. I appreciate it. Either way, I appreciate it. But I want to give credit to the proper individuals. So reach out to me directly, and I will make sure you get the proper credit. Because it was weird that I wasn't like I asked. I was like, "What did you say?" And they kept trying to tell me who it was, and I was like, "Are you speaking English? Are you sure? Like, is that what you're actually trying to say?" For myself today, I did pick up 2 cards for one of my vintage projects. So the '63 Fleer baseball. I did pick up card number 1. So we got here Steve Barber, card number 1. So in a PSA 6. So
Very
got
nice.
that. So solid for the set. And then card number 66. So second to last in the set. There is the checklist, but one of the last cards in the set. So Billy Odell, also in a PSA 6. So I was able to grab 2 of those. have a nice conversation in the chat and get a little more insight from one of the dealers as well. So that's Colin Murray, who has been in the chat sometimes on the Friday Live. So we had a nice chat, and I was able to grab those cards from him. I think I'm at 41 of the 67 cards, so I am at chipping away at that. We're getting there. So we're definitely making some progress, and I hope to add some more down the road. But it was nice to have a nice conversation. That was basically what I was shooting for. I was trying to have some nice conversation with these folks, and if we can work out a deal, that's great. I have a little bit of money left over if I see something interesting, but I'm waiting to see if anything catches my eye. One thing I will do as well for the channel is I have a couple more of those AEW boxes. I'm gonna open a couple more tonight. I'm gonna record that as a separate video, and I'll post that on the channel later on. So I won't do that in live, but I will definitely post that on the channel so we get that on there. Also, he says second three-pointer in NBA history. Ray is a pioneer. Facts, Paul. You get it.
Paul, no, listen. Paul needs to be very careful, considering that he is in punching distance.
Well, Paul, well, Eric, look, I could have done you one better. Paul is in the same hotel that I'm in.
Yeah,
I could literally be like, I could literally just go down, to that section and be like, Paul, answer this man directly.
I will be waiting in the lobby for him tomorrow morning.
There you go. So Big Scott says smart moving and not hanging with Eric in same room after show. You get it, Scott. You get it. Jay says vintage non-sports vintage. Any of that available with our good friends up north? So vintage non-sports. I definitely saw some. I didn't look too hard to get gauges, but is it available? Yes. What the pricing is looking like? No idea, Jay. I'd have to take a closer look, but I definitely saw it without a doubt.
I saw many tables with vintage non-sports, and tons and tons and tons of stuff. The tables were packed with and cards and it very impressive. But I didn't look at prices because it wasn't something I collect, so I wasn't really interested in the prices of the different types of cards that they had. But yes, very vintage tobacco issue type stuff that was non-sports, and lots of it.
Yeah, I will say also that there is a lot of the newer non-sports as well, the boxes and things related to that. So there was definitely a number of different dealers that were carrying the Lorcanas and stuff like that. I definitely saw that. I wasn't paying too close attention to it, but I definitely caught wind of that and saw a fair bit of it. I think tomorrow, I'm going to be there for part of the day, but my intention tomorrow, now that I'm mostly done my buying, like really most of it is done, I think what's going to happen next is tomorrow I'm going to try to just do a general survey and get a sense of kind of what's left and what has kind of been situated with a lot of these dealers, because I'm kind of curious myself. I want to see what's left over, what has moved and what hasn't moved, and I've gotten a little bit of a gauge from a few, but I want to do a little bit more of a survey and understand that. But I will say it looks, by all accounts, from a lot of the segments I saw, again, the PSA's done very well. Beckett's done very well. Some of the graders have had a lot of traffic over there. The signing area was busy. A lot of the other sectors were busy. The meat guy seemed to be making a lot of money, as they always do. So it's working out great for the meat guy. The other.
Hey, nobody. I went over to the grading pavilion several times to see if I could grab Brad for something, and every time I went there, no one is in line for KSA. The girl is sitting. There's one girl sitting there, and she's just sitting there in her chair with her legs crossed, playing on her phone. It was hysterical.
It's okay. Maybe if they had sold some coasters, maybe that would have helped. Big Scott says weird hockey units. It's a hoodie. It's a hockey jersey style hoodie, so North Stars, but it is a hoodie. But it's very warm and it's comfortable, so I enjoy it for what it is. Paul C says, Jay, there seems to be more non-sports from Remember last year. Yeah, perfect. Thank you for that. Josh here says, I'm so confused. I thought it was Saturday. It is for now. It is. You're right. Thank you, Jay.
Hey, just shut up, Josh.
There's your moment. I wanted to make sure you got it in there. Jace here says, how good was the food at the meat guy? Did they offer a sampler? So here's what's funny. So real quick, like I said, we'll talk a couple of minutes and then we'll wind her down. It'll be a shorter one for this one, but I wanted to at least get something on here for you.
I got 16% battery life, so
yeah,
get it going.
For all the talk of the meat guy, I've never actually tried to grab anything there, but I know like they've been busy. They consistently get traffic. They get business, so it's like I can't knock it. I can't knock the hustle. It's working. whatever they're doing is working great. But yeah, like for me, I can literally, like I said, you can walk across the street and there's a couple of spots there you can eat, and that's usually my preference. But listen, I'm not gonna knock it. The hustle is there and it's working. Whatever it is they're doing, it's working great. So I don't think they offer sampling though. They don't have to. They're getting plenty of business either way. They don't need any help. So JW Filter says, good evening. PSA tweeted today, just great in Toronto. 2015 Connor McDavid 25, rookie gold auto 25. What I guess I'm saying, was it yours? It's with my Mike Trout stash.
Yeah, right.
Paul C says, oh, help Eric. Yeah. How was the tag booth? Great question. So Eric, in your perception, like here's the thing. I'm gonna answer seriously for a second, but in your perception, how is the coaster making? Were they making coasters?
I I did not see a long line for tag. There was more people around the tag booth than KSA because there was no one. And the times that I
Coasters?
no one. So there were some people around the tag booth, but as a typical show would be, Beckett and PSA were getting all the love. We also had like Mint grading was also
Yeah,
there.
MNT. Yeah, MNT.
And they were outside of they didn't even make it into the grading room. Did you notice that? They're outside.
So just to describe, I'll say tomorrow if I can actually take a picture of the entry, just so you can actually understand what I'm saying. So they're all halls.
Yeah.
They're all halls. The way they structure it though is you got the main hall that's a rectangle, then you got a long hallway that leads you into the secondary area that you funnel into. There's another hall there that has dealers and has the autograph signers and the panels and all that stuff. So that's all there. But then you've got an entrance to what looks like almost a barn, but in reality, it's another hall. That hall is actually the grading hall. So inside of that, that's where you got PSA at the very end with their large booth. You got Beckett on the side. You got the coaster maker on the other side, and then outside of it, you got a couple other graders, including, like I said, MNT and stuff like that. They just fall just outside of the grading barn.
How upset are you that you didn't make it in the room? There's enough room for another table, but
I think Beckett took it because your buddies at Beckett, Eric, they had like some little tall tables there with tall chairs and stuff, like a seating area just to kind of hang out. That was taking up the space that could have fit those guys if they had put them in there.
I just can't believe it. I'd be so upset if I was a grading company and they weren't allowed in the grading room. I'd be so upset.
Yeah. So to kind of answer Neo's question, in addition to that, is they had their kind of usual setup. They had the screens, they had the samples, they had the display, they had a hockey goalie. It is Canada, you have to have a hockey goalie. But in reality, like, look, I walked by a bunch of times to kind of talk with Sherry and Chet and with Brad and with some of the folks at PSA. And I have to walk by the tag booth no matter what I do. Like I literally have to walk by it and every time I walk by it, there wasn't much happening. I don't know if they're grading anything or not, but like there just wasn't much going on. And that isn't just me being a hater or being a jerk. Like literally there wasn't much going on.
In the times that I walked by, I would, and who knows, maybe things were happening at different times, but in the times that I walked by, I have to agree that what you're saying is an accurate statement.
Yeah. And I would walk by and I'd see that there would be a long line over at PSA. There'd be a long line for on-site grading. There'd be a line for people submitting directly, filling in the forms, going on the computers, doing all that stuff. I see them there. I literally see them. And I'm sitting there like, and in addition to it, some of the authorized dealers would also take there were some booths in the main hall where some of the authorized dealers, KD Collectibles and Luke, who's been there with PSA Canada when we were doing that show, they were accepting grading too, and they would take it over for you. So in addition, you could submit stuff through them and they would literally take it over directly to the booth for you without you having to get in line or dealing with any of that. So they were taking submissions as well. So in addition to the main area that was already busy as hell, you got at least two other booths that were set up there where they would take your submissions and cart them over.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of activity.
And that's just, again, that separate end of the building, there's so much going on over there. It's just it's amazing that they keep trying to funnel all these people through the hallway to get there. It just doesn't make any sense. There's so much going on. over there now.
Now, I will throw in, so just in the spirit of making sure that we stick to what we said that we were going to keep it truncated and short. I want to read Paul's comment here. Respect the meat hustle. Facts, Paul.
Yeah,
So as I said, we got one more day. We're gonna go visit, and I will record a post-mortem after the Sunday as well. But I'll probably be back in my place by then. But it's been a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. Had a lot of chance to have some great conversations and hang out and have a good time with it. Found some cards and all that. I'm gonna have some fun opening these boxes of AEW. For what it's worth, I'm gonna have some fun. I did pull a PMG though. I did on a box I pulled. I did pull one of the PMGs. So I have the video footage of that. So I'll share it at some point here.
I
We will have more videos. What's that?
I have tons of PMGs. What? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean real ones. Anyway, so the point is that we'll have more videos coming up on the channel. We'll have a live stream, and the next podcast will be at the regular schedule. That'll all come in the usual way that it's going to be. Now, one other thing I will throw in there as well is that going forward into the way this show is coming, one of the advantages of being able to chat with a lot of these different folks. I was able to chat with Steve Menzie, the promoter of the show, when we were having dinner tonight. And I'll remind him later, but we did have a chance. And I'd like to actually talk to him post show and maybe get a sense of how things went. And some of the stuff we talked about in previous weeks, folks that we'd like to bring on that would be fun to have as some insights and everything, we'll keep working towards it because we've talked about it and it'd be a good idea. And I think we all agree it would be a lot of fun to do. And we'll just have to figure out schedules and see if we can get everything together. So we'll try to bring some of those folks on. That'll be good conversation to add some good context and information. And I think that'll be good.
I got some positive feedback from some, one person, one well-known name individual was very positive of the idea of coming on with us. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So
and at least a handful of people also gave us some wonderful feedback about Eric, and I'll be happy to give him a performance review and relay some of that wonderful feedback that we got about Eric.
It's the same feedback I've been getting from my closest family members and friends my whole life. So it's really no big deal.
I think we're just going to emphasize it. We'll put an exclamation point on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So last comments and questions, feel free to throw them in real quick. If you get real quick, we'll answer one or two more, and then we'll wind her down here.
12% battery life, boys and girls.
I think we'll be on time. I think we'll be all right. If you got one or two more, throw it in there, and then we'll come back, like I said, at the regular schedule. That'll let Eric and everybody to get back. It was a pleasure kind of chatting with his better half. Thankful that she graced us with her presence. How she puts up with Eric, we'll never know.
I don't know. I'm just grateful that every morning I get up, she's still there.
Jay, shout out to Nita. Exactly. Absolutely. We did give a toast to Bobby and the app. So I'll put on the hat here for the last little bit here as we sign off. Bobby did provide us these lovely hats. So there you go. We got the little logo going on. But it was good. And it was nice hanging out at Bobby's booth as well, kind of checking it out, how those things were going, which is great. And yeah, it was a good time, especially provided a venue for us. That's what I said. Even our last little impromptu live, we were able to do it from Bobby's booth. So it was nice to have that spot to be able to do that and chat and kind of get together and talk about it. So let's give Josh the last question here. So how was Marcel, Eric? How's Marcel?
Marcel is doing fine. I've spent a great deal of time with him over the last few days. He's doing very well. Thank you.
There you go. All right, Josh, you got the last word. And it was a pleasure chatting with you at the show as well, and everybody else that I did get a chance to chat with. A pleasure chatting with you. It was a good time. And like I said, I want to make sure I give proper credit. I'm like 98% sure who I want to give credit to. But for this Medano rookie auto, please confirm with me. Reach out to me so I can give you proper credit. I want to make sure I actually give it to the proper person. But I appreciate it either way. So I want to make sure I do that, and then we'll do it. And there's some friends of mine who I'm looking forward to potentially bringing in for at least a Friday, who's pop in, who may help us out in our appreciation of Eric as well.
I'm busy that day.
Spurs 21. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Absolutely. So thank you all for hanging out. We appreciate you. Again, more videos coming up. Live streams will be back on the regular schedule this upcoming week. And then anything else that comes up, we'll definitely chat with you. But here's another impromptu live stream. We were able to get another one in the books for this week. And then we had one earlier in the week. So there you go. We got it in this week, and we'll be back next week regular. All right, folks, hit the like button on the way out. Eric appreciates it as always. We'll catch you in the next one.